you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting. you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting. much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. It's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. That's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for. can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. What you waiting for? Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. What you waiting for? Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. What you waiting for? Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. There's what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting. This is what you're waiting for. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. This is what you're waiting for. Waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting for, waiting, 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 waiting for. Keep holding on. Not much time, you can't waste no more. There's not much time, what you waiting for? Waiting for, waiting for. This is what you're waiting for.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to F1 Racing Club. My name is GingerNut1107, better known as Cal, and today we're going to get straight into some racing action. Whilst we wait, we've got about 2 minutes until the race starts. There'll be no qualifying here today. I think it's time for me to introduce myself properly. So it's my first time with the JCC network, so thank you very much for having me. And it's my first time going over F1 Racing Club, so my pronunciation of names isn't the best. A lot of people like to have a giggle at how I pronounce some names, so I'll try my best. But I have been doing a little bit of commentary before, so I do know how all the industry works. But we'll have a bit of fun here tonight and see how it goes. So, welcome everyone. It's nice to have a lot of people joining me in today in the commentary box, in chats on Twitch. So, Singapore, quite an interesting one, so to speak. It's a fairly tight circuit, being a street circuit. 19 corners, 4 DRS straights. It's a tricky one, but obviously these drivers know what they're doing. They're going to have a bit of fun. And looking at our current title leader, is Quake in the Mercedes. That means he'll be starting at the back of the grid today. So Quake is, at the moment, as what I'm going off, is who I'm going to be looking at as one of the quickest, alongside Wolverine. But we're going. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for round 6 here at F1 Racing Club. It's a good start at the front for the Kick Sauber. McLaren there as well. The other Kick Sauber and the Red Bull round the outside of Evie. But the Kick Sauber of Keelan getting a great start there, looking down the grid order. A couple of other drivers jumping their way through. The Williams going nearly 3 wide with the Aston Martin there on the outside. Goes Penghu. What a move if he can keep it on the inside. Now we go towards turn 6, DRS not activated just out on lap 1. It gives him a squeeze. Does the Aston Martin, pushing him to the outside there. Both running off. The Aston Martin is ahead though, up to P7. Oh, but he spins in the exit. He spun in the exit. The Williams have been caught up in that. Cairo in the Williams has lost his front wing, and so has the Aston Martin. Not what you want early on in a Grand Prix, but they'll get to go again, and we just see Rocky in the McLaren going a little bit wide there. On the medium tyres, Gillette past the Mercedes car of Robert, and he's off the podium, only on lap 1 though. Don't write anyone off just yet, but that's not what you want. A couple of drivers having a little bit of a poor start. Let me get myself underway by looking at some of these. So there's your tyres, if you're interested. It's a big spread of mediums, a couple of softs and a hard tyre on Penghu, but we know he's got front wing damage which can change things early on, but we can't write him off. We cannot write him off. That is lap 1. Pretty much done and dusted, and Keelan is going to be absolutely chuffed with that start. Pulling away as well from the Red Bull behind. He's going to be looking a quick one here at the front, but looking down the grid order. Maybe the V-carb of speed, trying to look on the Red Bull. Red Bull defends it. Not a place to make a move, but there goes the Red Bull into the back of the Ferrari. Always close through turn 1. That complex at the start of the lap is tricky to get through. And the V-carb is all over the back of the sister team, trying to get past Liam. Very, very close. There'll be a move coming there very soon with DRS. Things are going to turn on its head now. Here goes Speed in the V-carb. Very nice looking pink one. And he can't make anything happen. The Red Bull goes wide. The Red Bull's gone wider than DRS straight. Here comes Speed. Can't do anything around the outside now. He's going to try his best. Can't do anything. Maybe towards the inside. Here he goes. Oh, he sends it. A little bit of a lock up there through turn 9. Gives the squeeze to the Red Bull when he's passed. Golf in the Mercedes now is going to try his best. And he's done the Red Bull as well. Liam dropping 2 positions in the space of 2 corners. Not what you want. I see a yellow flag. It's a Ferrari. Who's a Ferrari? It's back. Back spins. It lets his teammate through of Jack and the Haas of Sinful. What a crazy start to this Grand Prix. Moves happening here, there and everywhere. The good starts going for Gerth in the Mercedes, as well as Werner. I believe it's Werner. I like the ex-Chelsea player. Werner in the McLaren up to P9. Not a bad start from him, and especially Jack. 7 places gained. Evie as well in the Red Bull near the front, gaining 6 positions. Lots and lots of drivers having some incredible starts. We'll look up to the front now. I see some move, and there is a move coming on our hands. It's the Red Bull on the Kick Sauber. The Kick Sauber's led the first 3 laps of this Grand Prix, but the Red Bull is here and there. Can he make a move? He's got no one behind him to be under pressure, but he has fallen off a little bit coming out of that first section of turn 4. Here he goes now. We'll watch with DRS on that Red Bull. A little bit of battery usage as we go towards turn 7. Can't make anything happen just yet. We'll look down the grid order again. McLaren of Werner trying to make his way up to P8 now. Now look on the back of the Kick Sauber of Iron. He is looking very, very fast. So is Gerth in that Mercedes, who I believe is going to be Quake. I believe that's him. Maybe it's Robert. I think that might be Monza. I'm trying to learn all these lovely people's names and who I'm talking about. But Gerth looking fast. I don't know if it's called Gerth. I don't know. There you go, Quake. We'll go by Quake for Mercedes as he goes through the hairpin. A tricky one to get right. Ask George Russell through turn 13. As we have another spinner. It's going to be Jack at the back, getting himself going underneath the tunnel of turn 12 as he comes towards the hairpin, but into the back, losing both end plates there. He was having a good start as well towards the Ferrari guy. He's going to be a little bit annoyed at that. We jump back to P6 when the Mercedes of Quake goes to the inside of the 4th DRS straight. Makes a lovely move on Rocky there into turn 16-17 chicane. Very nicely done, gaining 12 positions so far. That shows to me why he's a championship leader. He is a very, very quick racer, isn't he? He knows what he's doing here in F1 Racing Club. The Alpine as well of Daft Tims. Not looking too bad behind the other Mercedes of Robert. But obviously Robert's now going to be working very closely with his teammate, as you do, to try and hold up the Alpine. But the Alpine's not going to let that go too easily. Makes a lovely move as the Mercedes of Robert has a little bit of an incident coming out of turn 5. Very nicely done by the Alpine, getting themselves up to P3. McLaren duo as well of Werner and Rocky. Very, very close, but there's a V-carb. Speed again, making some lovely attempts to move. It can't make them stick as he goes a little bit of a slide through turn 9 there. I'm looking forward to see what Speed can do throughout this Grand Prix. Looking aggressive. I love to see it. I do love to see it. And Iron as well. Looking he's struggling a little bit. Meaning the Ferrari maybe trying to make a move happen. Can he get into the hairpin? No, he cannot. He knows he's got DRS straights coming up. So this is his chance to make a move happen. Here he goes then. No DRS on that Kick Sauber. Will he send it just yet? No, he doesn't. Stays behind through turn 14. Gets that per foot down. A little bit of battery usage, I am sure. DRS will be activated. Here they go. Hamilton, there's an Aston Martin spinning in the background, but the Ferrari has made the move up to P9. That's Artem in the Aston Martin dropping down your grid order. Here he goes, trying to get himself going again on the racing line. Got to be careful as you have a couple of drivers flying by towards the chicane. That is a lap 4 done and dusted. Keelan at the front, absolutely pulling a lead. He is now 2 seconds away from the Red Bull, but that is Quake looking very speedy still. Hasn't managed to get past Robert and Werner for P4, considering he started right at the back of this grid at the start of this race. Within 5 laps, he's up to P4. He's not going to say no to that. Racing very good so far, and he's still got about 26 laps under his belt to make anything else happen. So he can try and maybe settle down on that medium tyre, get into a rhythm, but no, he's not. Trying to make a move there on the outside of Darth. Couldn't make it as we went towards turn 10, but he's all over the back of that Alpine. As we go into the hairpin now, he's looking fast. He gets the turn in very nicely there. Alpine getting a better exit though. Maybe will allow him to defend it down this straight. It all comes down to turn 14 now. Who gets the better exit as we go to the 4th DRS straight of this lap? It looks fairly close. DRS and battery usage here for the Mercedes. Looks to the right, goes to the left, to the outside, and he makes a lovely move on the Alpine as Darth Tims gets a warning from that, ending up in a freezing time penalty. But that is Quake up to the lead. Not the lead. It might be. No, it's not, as Keelan doesn't pit. We do see the Red Bull pitting off his soft onto a medium. So it does give Quake P2. Darth Tim keeping himself on a podium. And the Red Bull going for an aggressive strategy. Obviously, we know here it's going to be a 2-stop guaranteed. We've got a couple of drivers already making their first stops. P13 down to the end of our grids. Already making that 1 stop. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I do love a forced 2-stop. It does bring some strategy into it, as that is a very wiggly kick Sauber. The Williams of Wolf trying to make something happen. He can't. He tried his best. Will jump up though, as the McLaren of Werner trying to make a move on Darth Tim. He tries his best. A little bit of contact made, just a little bit of a love tap. He has fallen off a little bit off the Alpine though, as he tried to make a nice move there through what would have been turn 9, but he is pushing very hard. So is the Alpine, trying to defend that position. Yeah, McLaren taking a wider line. The Alpine going very, very wide out of the corner. DRS activated on the McLaren, who'll get DRS of both straights here, even though he's ahead. So McLaren up to P3. That McLaren, where's he going to be? So he started near the back of our grid as well. I think Quake and Werner are going to be going at it till the end. These two, yeah, both starting in the back and both very, very quickly making their way up to the front. Everyone in chat tuning in. Nice to see Reggie there. Carter Brother Motorsports also here, and Jack joining in as well. Nice to have everyone joining us in the Twitch chat. If you're watching along, make sure you drop some predictions. I do love a prediction to see what everyone else is thinking. So if you have any thoughts on who's going to win this race, it's early days, but who knows? Who knows? Do love a prediction. Oh, there's an Alpine. Wolf trying to make the move on the McLaren again. Can't make it happen. And the Williams of Cairo comes out of nowhere, getting himself up to nearly P8. The Alpine, though, fights it back as we go towards turn 5 now. Round the outside goes the Williams. What a move made by Cairo there, getting himself up to P8, even though the Alpine was trying to fight for P7. Maybe the Williams can do it as he goes to the inside of the McLaren. Can't do anything. The McLaren goes wide. As he rejoins, has to let both drivers through. So Cairo up to P7 within a sector. Very nicely done by the Williams driver. The Alpine of Wolf probably quite happy to see not see the back of that McLaren anymore, as he sat a long time behind Rocky there. That was a little bit of excitement there from our drivers as we look towards the front. Quake and Werner really closing up on that kick Sauber. He's led from the start. He knows what he's doing. Has that very nice gap at the moment. But it's going to be getting a little bit scary. He knows that Quake is fast. If I have a look at the race wins, Quake did win at Shanghai and Bahrain, which they would have been round 3 and 4. Last time out, it went to Buck, who's the Ferrari driver. So, yeah, I would say that Kylon is going to be getting a little bit nervous now, as it is getting very, very close to the front. That is Speed Freak, though, the V-Carb, coming into the pit lane for his first stop. We'll have a look at what tyre he goes onto. It looks like a hard. Yes, it is. We also have Robert coming in. And Mercedes, oh, we jumped to the Ferrari of Buck. And the Alpine of Daft Tims makes a lovely move into the final corner. The Ferrari fights it back into T1. Can he make anything happen? The Alpine goes a little bit wide there. Has managed to stay in front as the V-Carb comes out just behind them. That was an insane battle as Darth is really, really giving it his all. Number 73 there to defend off that Ferrari car. With DRS now on the scooter rear, maybe it's his time to make a move. Not just yet. Not just yet. Has to stay behind for a little bit longer. Maybe another sector before we get to the double DRS straight. Close between these two. Very, very close. Obviously, Darth Tims and Back both pitting for the hard. Nice and early. So they'll be going on for their 2-stop. Maybe going for another hard later on. Maybe opening the window for a medium if they look after it well enough. Our top 8, obviously, Nathan's made that 2-stop as well. So we'll keep an eye on when those lot come in. I want to have a look at Keelan, as I think he'll be coming in. Yes, he is. He is into the pit lane. Probably saw Quake getting behind him nice and close and said, that's enough for me. Cairo, though, just made a move on Iron. Very nicely done down the straight there. But he's got to be careful as we're going to go around the final corner. Front wing damage on that Williams might allow the Kick Sauber to make a move. But we'll look backwards. Maybe even Wolverine trying to make a move. And the Red Bull as well. We see contact. There's massive contact. The Kick Sauber on the Alpine spinning at pit exit. Not what you want to see if you're Keelan, who's coming out there. It was very, very close. Almost too close, and we have seen a little bit of a collision, and I see another one there. The Red Bull and Cairo coming together. That's very scary, to say the least, for the Williams driver. Fairly quite annoying for him as well, as he was on for a fairly good race. Obviously, he had yet to pit, though. We will note that. And the Red Bull has pit, so he's in a good spot. But yeah, I think that's going to lost him a lot of time that he didn't want to lose, especially with that front wing damage, as well as the Kick Saubers fighting. I don't think that's what you'd want. As the Kick Sauber manager, oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. One of them's pit, and he does get past. It's Keelan getting past lead motion this race, and it all comes together. Do the Kick Saubers. That's Iron now with front wing damage. Yet to pit. We have a yellow flag, and it's Cairo. It's Cairo. So Cairo in the Williams, there he is in the background. Has hit I think that's the tunnel section. Yeah, coming out of the tunnel section. The Williams driver crashed. And we have a safety car. Full course yellow. Brings out the safety car, meaning Quake's in. I'll be surprised if McLaren doesn't. Yes, he is in. McLaren is in. Maybe Evie comes in as well. He's yeah, I don't know. Already made a pit stop, has the Red Bull. Gonna have to make another one. Garrett has to make another one. But does he want the track position? Yes, he does. The Red Bull stays out. But he gets a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. I did not see that. But apparently he has done. But we'll have a look. As they come to the safety car line, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. He's going to come out ahead of the McLaren. Looking at the Mercedes car, though. He's not going to beat him. So the Red Bull comes out in P2 after the pit stop phases. Looking down at the rest of the grid. The drivers that hadn't pit yet are going to be absolutely chuffed. Especially if you give a little bit of front wing damage. Keelan's going to be a bit angry. As he could have got a bit of an advantage if he waited a lap longer. Speed Freak, though, up to P5 as well. Darth Tim, P6. Liam up to P7. Ryu, that's Monkey, up to P8 with Robert. And then the Aston Martin of Artem up in P9 and 10. And then our pit stoppers off that safety car, which Rocky, Iron, Buck, Wolverine, Pingu, Jack's also coming in. And then maybe Sinful as well, but he's already made that stop. We'll have a look at how many stops people have made. So that's Pingu already making 2. Jack making his second there. Sinful's made 2. And Buck's also made 2. So, a lot of people at the back making 2 stops already. People at the front only on the 1 stop. And it's going to be really close now as we have a safety car, which is going to turn things on its heads. We will begin to see a little bit of a spread out in our grid order. But now, it's going to change. It's really going to change. And a good thing as a commentator, you get a nice breather when there's a safety car, as everyone goes for a bit of a crawling pace. You say crawling pace, they're doing about 80 miles per hour and in corners still, which is ridiculous. But for a Formula 1 car, it's nothing. And even down the straight, as we look on board Mercedes, he's doing about 150. He's, crawling pace. Crawling pace for an F1 car. So a lot of drivers getting nice and close behind the driver in front of them. They'll have a little bit of a train forming, which can bring some action as we'll go towards the end of the safety car. Probably going to restart as we go on to lap 12, maybe lap 13. All comes down to when the FIA in-game decide what time they want to go for. But Artem into the pit lane now. I believe he's already pit. Yeah, so he's done 6 laps on the hards. Goes for another set of hards now. 20 laps to go to the end. Is that enough? Is that enough for the Aston Martin? I don't know. I did race back in the day, maybe 3 years ago, into 2 years ago. But I don't know if you can make 20 laps on a hard around Singapore. But he has done his mandatory 2-stop, and that's what matters. It's a good call by the Aston Martin team. All the way down. Oh, actually, I say all the way down. They're only down in 7th in the third in the constructors. But they're down in P14 and 15. And they need to change things on its head this race. And I think the best way to do it is change the strategy. So maybe Aston Martin pulling a good call here, pitting under the safety car. It's an interesting call. As we see a driver dropping down, it's Rocky, who seems to be a little bit stuck there. And he gets himself going again. But yeah, you can just hear him roaring the engine away. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to the McLaren car, as he is going again. He gets himself going again. But that's interesting, as he's falling down the grid order. He's going to lose a lot of position, as he's now stationary before the tunnel section. Maybe trying to let some other drivers pass. I'm not entirely sure. But we're reaching now the end of lap 11, going to lap 12. Meaning we'll probably have safety car in this lap. Fingers crossed. I want to see some racing action. I do love a bit of action. But looking at the tyres, we have pretty much switched everyone from the medium to the hard. A lot of the soft tyres, I'd say, have gone for a medium. Maybe going soft, medium. A lot of the hard tyres, I would say, maybe going for a soft later on. Softs don't last long around here. So, yeah. Who knows? It's all to play for at the end of the day. It's all to play for. Evie in P2 is going to be a little bit of a bottleneck for the drivers behind. So he's on a little bit worn medium than the McLaren and the Kick Sauber, even the V-Carb and the Alpine as well. Meaning they're going to be a little bit quicker. Obviously he's on medium, so he's got the quicker compound, but he's on a little bit more worn mediums, meaning he's going to be a little bit slower. So if you're sitting there in Quake's seat, obviously he's P1, it's the place where they all want to be. All 17 of our running drivers. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting now, as I want to see the drivers behind. Probably gonna. Oh, he's disappeared. Anyway, so yeah, I don't understand, as Evie's dropped down to P10, and he's completely gone now. He's down to P17. That completely writes off what I was just talking about then. So Werner's now not got that bottleneck, and Quake, as I was about to say, was going to be quite happy having that bottleneck behind him. It's gone. It's now down to him to fight on his own to the drivers behind him and hope for the best. Yes, that's changed things. That's interesting. I don't have a clue what happened there. I do love this camera angle. That's a very nice camera angle. We have safety car in. Finally. It is time. It is time for us to get the next 20 odd laps on the way. This Grand Prix back on the way again at F1 Racing Club. I am so ready. I'm so ready to get this running again. At the moment, we're still on the yellows, so they're going to hold up our grid behind the Mercedes. He can go when he wants. I think he's already gone. No, he's not. He's just got a little bit quicker into turn 16. Keep an eye as he comes out of turn 17. He's floored it, and he is away. Mercedes is gone, and everyone else follows closely behind. But Werner is even closer, and he's only 2 tenths behind the Mercedes. Can he make anything happen? We've gone across the line, meaning it's green flag running. Here comes the kick. Sauber on the inside of the McLaren driver. Absolutely sends it through turn 1. Nearly makes it happen. Can't make it happen, and stays P3 for now, but the McLaren has lost about 7 tenths than the Mercedes. Not what he wanted, not what he expected as well. I want to see what the Aston Martin crew can do at the back so far, P12 and 13. This league does point all the way down to P20, so if you finish your score, so, you know, they're going to want as many points as they can, and the best way to do that is get your way up the order, and that's what they'll be looking to do, so keep an eye on those two, as they'll be slowly chipping their way up, I'm sure. You look back up to the top 2, Quake, maybe a little bit happier to see the McLaren further behind than he was at the start of that safety car restart. But he's closing again. He's just chipping away slowly as the McLaren. The Mercedes is probably going to have to try and chip out of that DRS zone, or DRS second area, whatever they called it, detection point. Because, you know, you don't want that DRS around Singapore. 4 straights of it. It can really bother you being in that DRS train. As we come round onto what will be lap 14 now. Yeah, it looks like Werner's going to have that DRS. Not what you want. Not what you want. Although, maybe Quake's listening in, as he's pulled it to 9 tenths there. The first detection point will be coming out of what is turn 3, pretty much turn 4. And it's going to be close, but I think the McLaren's going to have DRS by the skin of his teeth now. Here he goes, around turn 5. He needs that DRS to try and defend off the kick Sauber. Actually, no, neither of them have DRS, meaning the V-carb is going to be speed in the V-carb. A little bit of a bumper car action there as they go down the straight. Not enough to make him stay behind. A little bit of a force-off by the V-carb. The kick Sauber does come out back ahead, but he was off circuit, and I think he's let the V-carb through. Yes, he has. Fair racing, but he's not going to let it last for too much longer. Maybe trying to make him switch back on speed there. Oh, Keelan is making it fighty here. Here he goes to the inside. Nicely done. He keeps it within the white lines, but he goes very, very wide. I mean, the V-carb gets back past. He doesn't actually stay in the white lines. He gets a warning for it, and he has dropped down to P4. But it's going to be close now as he go again down another DRS straight. Can the kick Sauber do anything? Maybe getting a little bit scared of the Alpine behind, who's looking very, very fast. That was a very exciting part of the lap 14 of the Grand Prix in general. Very, very close between those two. As the Aston Martin of Penghu does have DRS, but he's got the Haskar of Spineful right behind him. Not Spine, Sinful, sorry. Cuts the corner a little bit, does the Haskar, but he does keep it very close behind the Aston Martin, all over the back of the gearbox, trying to do something, as we see another huge crash there. That's Wolverine sideways down the start-finish straight. Not sure what happened to him, but not what you want, as that's Jack retiring from the race in pit lane, unfortunately for him. Not what you want to see, as he's about halfway through this Grand Prix now. Very, very close. Very, very close. But we'll have a look to the train that's formed from speed all the way down to a monkey in the Williams driver. It's close. It's a podium position that this train's for. And it's not that far before we have another train down to pretty much P13. Very close between these lot. Yeah. It's gonna change things. It's not gonna finish like this in the next 15 laps. It's gonna be turned on its head. And we see a couple of collisions coming here and there. Is definitely gonna cause some upset. V-carb doing what it needs to do though. Kick Sauber doing what it needs to do. It's this DRS train the 2025 cars cause constantly. If you're stuck there, you're stuck there. It's very hard to break out of. You've got to have the skill and the ability and the correct planning to get past, as that is Buck trying to get past the Williams car. Pretty much the back of this DRS train as he's joined on at the end of this lap. Robert kind of in the middle of two DRS trains. He's kind of the butter of a DRS train sandwich. As we see Pingu, it's close, as he makes a little bit of contact with the Kick Sauber there, trying to make his way through towards turn 1, can't make anything happen. Unfortunately for him, they have to try and fight it again as they come out of turn 4. Be close between these lot, as it is Hammer and Tong. As we go up towards the fight for P5, very late move by Liam to get past on the outside, but it's a very, very good move to get past the outside on turn 7 on the Alpine car. Liam Raikkonen up to P5, very nicely done on the 11 lap old hard tyre, and we might even now see Monkey in the Williams trying to make something happen to the inside of the Alpine. We go towards a little bit of the newer part of the track. Not the newest, but it's the newer part. And the Alpine goes wide, letting back through as well. So the Alpine losing about 3 or 4 positions through the space of about a lap. Unfortunately for him, losing a little bit of pace as we get to the middle portion of this Grand Prix. Yeah, it's really, really close now. It's really, really close. But Quake at the front has got into the lead of this race and then shown a performance to show why he's our championship leader here at F1 Racing Club. I'm sure Werner is going to maybe try and switch the strategy, attempt to maybe bring the fight back, because at the moment he's just losing time and time. And even Speed Freak and Keelan spreading out a little bit as we have another retiree in the pit lane of Artem and the Aston Martin. It's a shame. I was quite excited to see what the Aston Martin team could do. Clearly just wrapping it up here today. But here comes Buck on the back of the Red Bull, hunting him down here, down the second DRS straight. Not enough to get past at this moment. But we look to the other Red Bull, who's looking at the back of the Aston Martin. Both of these drivers got DRS. Again, the DRS change trains really caused some issues for these drivers, but not for Evie, as he absolutely sends it on the inside of the Aston Martin. Aston Martin then sends one back on the inside of turn, turn 9? Turn 9. And it's a very, very aggressive fight between these two. Very clean and very nicely done. The Aston Martin does end up defending the position. We look towards the Red Bull now and the Ferrari for P5. Ferrari round the outside of the third DRS straight and is up to P5. Nicely done. A lot of drivers making the outside line overtakes happen quite nicely and quite easily here today. The Ferrari car up to P5. Dropping down our grid order now, we see it very, very close as the other Red Bull of Evie trying to make that move on Pingu once again. It's close, but not Pingu, it's Evie into the pit lane. So he's on 11 lap older mediums. I think he's made 1 stop, maybe 2. Let's have a look. So he's on 1 stop. This will be his second and final stop for a set of hards. So Evie, maybe pulling the strategy call early, pulling the plug, might be the way to go, you know. It might be the way to go. Again, this DRS train for P9, nice and close. Very nice and close, but it is keeping it interesting in terms of who's got that knowledge and skill to know when they can make the move happen. To know where to make the move happen, you know. It's a tricky one to get right, and these drivers here today trying to make it happen. Number 13 on Kick Sauber, Iron, is one of those on the back of the Mercedes. Knowing the Mercedes doesn't have DRS in front of him, I think we'll want to make a move happen sooner rather than later and then try and hunt up towards the train for P5. Good points up there. I can actually find the points somewhere around here. I'll have a look whilst we go through our other parts of this race. So Rumour in the Williams car is trying to defend off Daft Tim's behind him. Not doing too bad a job, but he's trying his best. The Alpine She's running a little bit low on battery. A lot of drivers struggling on battery around here at the Singapore. What's it? It's a street circuit. I can't remember the actual name for it. It's the Marina Bay. Marina Bay. Trust me, I like to think I know what I'm doing, but maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, I do have the points here. So first place is 45 points, second's 35, and third is 30. We were talking about P5 and how many points you can get there. So that's 23. And then all the way down where Iron and Robert is, P9 and 10, that's 14 and 12. So they can need double their points, point score, their point haul here this week round, if they can get out of this DRS train and hunt up this train ahead of them. But we have another crash. It's Keelan. Keelan into the wall through the exit there of turn 10. And I think it might bring out another safety car. No, it's brought out a virtual safety car. I'm not surprised, as he did hit that wall with quite a pelt. And unfortunately, that's him out of the race. He was having such a good race here today, but that has wrapped it up, unfortunately, for the Kick-Sauber. Not what you want to see at all. Not what you want to see. But it has ended his race, and we'll have to look at him next week out. Obviously, he's all the way down in P19 in the drivers so far. That's his 4th DNF on the trot, unfortunately. I believe he was also meant to get a 3-second time penalty this week at the end of his race. And I'll also have a look at who the other one was. It was F Crew. I don't know who that is. I don't know if he's here. Not entirely sure, but he's got 15 seconds to his name. As we are going again, Cinderfall has crashed on the safety car restart, and Girth Quake has come into the pit lane for his second stop. 11 laps left of this race, and he's down to P5, 18 seconds behind the leader. Yet to make a pit stop is the leader, and all drivers in front of Quake are making their second pit stop. But actually, no, that's back. He's made a second stop. What tire is he on? He's on a 10-lap old medium, but he might be able to go to the end. I think we saw it earlier on. We questioned it. We weren't sure, but I think he'll try it, because he might have a race win on his hand. He's at least up there in contention, as you can't even see the Mercedes in the background. This is going to be an interesting one. It's really, really turned things on its head. I didn't even notice that. Right, okay. I'm sure Werner now is going to be maybe looking to make that second pit stop. His hard tyres, only 10 laps he's done. Fingers crossed for him, he has another set of hards, because then he could just go hammer at those hards. Obviously a medium he'll have to try and look after. Does he pit? No, he doesn't. Making him feel like he's going to try and stay out for a medium, not go for the hard. Speed Freak follows. And yeah, Back's going to stay out as well. Interesting. Yeah, so there is Quake on that nicely fresh hard. Nice set of boots he's got on there, on that Mercedes car, as he's going to make light work of Daft Time Tim's, and gets himself up to P4. We have a yellow flag. Fingers crossed we don't have another safety car, as that will really screw up Quake's race here today. But no, it hasn't caused a safety car, but it has caused a little bit of an upset for the Haas car of Sinful there, down to P8, losing a lot of time and a bit of frontal wing. We have Liam into the pit lane, the Red Bull car, thinking it's time for his next stop. That will be his second stop, as he's on for a medium, and he'll be looking to go to the end. We have another yellow flag. I think it was Robert into pit lane, and also Sinful going around the final corner. Sinful having a fairly poor lap there. He's going to have to try and get his head back in the game, as he's got to try and get his way around the next 10 laps. It'll be tricky for him on that 13-lap old medium. I wouldn't be surprised to see him having to make another pit stop, which will really ruin his track position. We look towards Iron again now, though, in that Kick-Sauber, right up the back of Evie. DRS activated, and Aston Martin has a look, but can't make anything happen, having to stay behind. But this is a 5P7, you know. And there's a couple of drivers involved. It's our closest fight. I'll be interested to see how it plays out as we have a look. And the top two not pitting, top three not pitting, and the Mercedes car of Quake already making that second stop is looking very fast, and he shows it 7/10 quicker than his quickest lap time, and he has set the timing sheets purple. Absolute blinder by Quake there. That is Daft Sims though, and Monkey into the pit lane. That'll be for their second stops. Obviously, needing to make it. We do know it's a 2-stop here today. And it's what changes on ahead. I do love a 2-stop. Did Daft Monkey pit? I'm interested there. Why did he not pit? Was that a drive-through penalty for sorry, not Daft Monkey, for just Monkey? Number 2 on the Williams car. I think he was serving a drive-through. Interesting. Yes, we didn't pit. He's on the same hardtop. He's got to pit again. Meaning, oh, that's not what you want for the Williams car. He's going to drop down a lot of positions. He's going to lose a lot of track position. Ah, the Williams driver. I'm assuming that was off the VSC there. Not what you want at all. Yeah, drive through. Ah, fortunate for the Williams car, as he was really looking quite good there, fighting alongside Daft Sims. But, you know, you don't write him off. Who knows? There might be another safety car. Yes! That's Werner out of the session. What's happened here? He was one of our race leaders for a while, and he's now with the race leader. He's down to P4. He's down to P... I don't know if I've got him on my friends list. Give me 2 seconds. I was asked to invite people if they disconnected. I can't see it. There he is. Let's get him back here, because that is unfortunate for the McLaren car. He was looking fast. We have Endo in chat. He says the mediums can go pretty good. 14 laps, yeah. So the mediums do last a fair while, and we're looking at a couple of drivers here on the medium, and they'll be going to the end. We've only got a few laps left now. They'll definitely be going to the end. We also have a fight going on for P2. It's going to be Back, who's made the 2-stop, so this is 4 position now. There's a massive tyre difference, but we know that Quake has the pace. We know that Back's got the pace, and we can see that the Ferrari car is missing a bit of front wing, making it maybe a little bit easier for the Mercedes, but they're going to go side by side towards turn 10. It gets squeezed of the Mercedes car by the Ferrari, and Quake goes spinning on the exit of turn 10. Controversial for the fight at the top, but yeah, I'm sure Quake's going to be furious there, down in P3. Yeah, as he's looking maybe for a race win with Werner having a DC. As I'm hoping he comes back, as I believe his AI will probably pit him as well, eventually. Obviously, he's got to make that second pit stop, but yeah, going to be a little bit slower than the pace he was showing us earlier on. Look back towards Pingu again now, though, on that nice fresh medium compared to Evie's slightly older hard, but it's still very close between those two. Tyre compounds as he hits the wall. A little bit of a love tap there by Pingu. But trying to make the move happen on the Red Bull car. But he has time left to do it in this race, so don't write him off just yet. And yeah, as I thought, Werner has come into the pit lane. His AI has done it for him, and he's on for a set of mediums. And it's an old medium as well. It's an old medium, so it's 4-lap old medium. Sorry, 9-lap old mediums in P4 and with AI. Not what he wanted. Not what he wanted at all in this race. That's unfortunate for him, pretty much writing him off the fight for the race win here. The Kick Sauber, Iron Stormer. We've looked at him a lot today, and he's looking fast behind Liam. He's going to have to make the move sooner rather than later, though, as he's got Wolverine on his tail, right up that gearbox of the Kick Sauber. It's going to be close between these three, and we do have a little bit more of a DRS training now forming behind Werner, with the Williams and the Red Bull and Pingu going to maybe try and close themselves up into one big train. We do have the Mercedes back now. The Mercedes back behind the Ferrari car after their previous collision. And with DRS, a bit of battery usage, and the fresh tyres, I think he'll make a nice, easy move towards turn 16. The Ferrari squeezes it. Later on the brakes goes the Mercedes. He goes very deep off the track, just a little bit. He's going to have to return that. Yes, he has done. He's going to have to make another move to get himself back into the lead of this Grand Prix, as we do see Speed pitting. So it's net P1, now is for P1, but we have a safety car. Safety car's out. I don't know why. I'm having a look through. I don't know why, but it's turned things on its heads. Again, this race has been turned on its heads. So that's Back in P1. He's going to probably pit, bringing him out in P3, as that's Speed and Quake in P2 and 3 at the moment. Interesting. So let's have a look who's not done the 2-stop yet, if anybody. So it's just Rumour. It's just Rumour who will pit now. Yeah, he'll pit now off the hards. Maybe for a soft, maybe for a medium. Aston Martin Pingu also pits. And we also see Darth Tims into the pit. He's gone for a soft, a fresh soft, so to say. We have a lot more drivers into the pit lane. We have Leo into the pit. We have Wolverine into the pit. We see the soft tyres going on. Rumour goes for another set of hards, as we only have a few laps left of this Grand Prix. I'm sure he'll give that hard a right going at. He's going to have to, really, to try and defend off those soft tyre runners. But we're going to have a sprint to the end at the end of this Grand Prix. It's going to be good, though, isn't it? It's going to be good. Anyway, we look to the front. I want to see Back come into the pit lane, because I want to see him coming out and having a fair game with Quake. As yeah, there he goes, into pit lane. The question is, does Quake also come into pit lane? Yes, he does. Which might mean they stay where they are. So Back's going to end up staying P1. Quake, P2. Speed is going to be close. It's going to be really close. Obviously, we know he's suffering from a delta. He's got to meet it. And he's got to try and come out ahead of them as we go across the safety car line. But I think he's going to do it with quite an ease here. Here he goes towards turn 1. They're not even out of pit lane yet. Speed Freak's up to P1. Where did Speed Freak start? I said it from the start, didn't I? I said it from the start. I was waiting to see what he can do. He's up 12 positions from start. So is Back. That's 14 for Quake. Wow. This is really turning on its head here at the end. As we have Speed Freak in P1, Buck P2, P3 for Quake. Really close. I couldn't even say who's going to win this race. I'd love to see what you guys think in chat. I wouldn't want to say. Quake. I'm gonna say Quake. A commentator's prediction is gonna be Quake here today. Down in P3. I don't know. I just think he's got it in him. I think he's got it in him. But Back's not gonna let that happen too easily, though, is he? Not too easily. Evie stayed out. So did Werner, as obviously he's AI. Ironstorm stayed out. A lot of drivers behind have gone for that safety car pit stop. And then we'll, fingers crossed, gain up the back of them as well. So we've got Cake in chat saying that his money is on the Glorious King Speed Freak in P1. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it goes by his name. He's a bit of a speed freak, so maybe. Oh, dear. I'm already making silly jokes, and I've only been here for one round. Anyway, we'll wait and see. That was the McLaren of Rocky, who just retired from this race. McLaren, Zach Brown not going to be happy with the results, as there's one retiree and one driver disappearing with desync. Endo thinks it's going to be Quake as well. No one cheering on Back, unfortunately. But yeah, he's quick. He is quick. All three of them are quick. That's why they've gone from the back to the front. We can't write off anyone behind just yet. You cannot write them off just yet, but it's tricky. It's going to be tricky for them. These three at the front are very quick. They're very, very quick. And it's going to be a true sprint to the end. We're going to have about 4 laps. 4 laps, maybe 3 laps. We'll have 28, 29, 30, 31. So yeah, 4 laps. Right. So I know someone's got a free second time penalty. 15. It's F Crew. Who's F Crew? Have I got him on here somewhere? Is it a Haas? I don't think he's here today, which means he won't get his 15-second time penalty. Meaning it's just going to be down to the penalties that people have got in game. So let's have a look at those. There they are. Oh, right. That turns things on its head. We were talking about predictions for who we think is going to win this race. And with Quake only having right, I say only having, not having any penalties, whereas two in front of him having 3-second time penalties, gives him a fairly good chance. Yeah, a fairly good chance. And then we've got a lot of drives behind with 3 seconds. 6 for Tim and 9 for Liam. And we have Wolverine, Pingu, Monkey, Werner, who's not here, and then Quake with 0 penalties, keeping it within the grey stuff, within the white lines. But it's going to be close now. It's going to be really close. Fingers crossed we get a safety car restart this lap, because the more laps we get, the more racing we get. But I don't think it's going to be, as we're going to then go on to lap 28, unfortunately. No, so safety car stays out for another lap, meaning I've got to find some more waffle to talk about. So I'm going to have a look at your championship standings. So last time out, Mercedes actually gained no points at all. One of the only drivers to not gain any points. Actually, it was the only team to not gain any points. That was Monza and Quake not scoring. Who I believe Monza will be Robert, unless he's a reserve driver. And then the Alpine team gained 41 points last time out, putting them 31 points behind the Mercedes team. Aston Martin, they are 38 points behind Mercedes, so 7-point difference between them. You then have Racing Bulls, Red Bull, Williams, Haas, McLaren, Ferrari, and Kick Sauber at the back. I think if you're a Kick Sauber fan, you'd be looking to get Iron up there a little bit to try and score some more points for the Kick Sauber team as they are at the back. But if you're a V-Carb fan and the Speed fan, as is Cake in chat, yeah, if he stays where he is, he'll be jumping up the championship order, and even in the driver's order as well, he'll be flying up. But yeah, Quake, if he wins this race, is going to have even bigger a lead. He's got a fast lap at the moment. It won't last, as a lot of drivers will gain that fastest lap on the soft tyres. A little bit less fuel now than it was before. So yeah, I've just been informed that F Crew isn't racing. Good to hear. So it's just going to come down now. So what's happening on track? That's what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear. We also have Wolverine, the Alpine, as well, who was behind Quake in the championship. Where is Wolverine? He's on P10, so not having a good race so far. But safety car's in this lap. We got lap 29, lap 30, lap 31 to bring us to the end of this Grand Prix. It's going to be a sprint, and it's all to play for. The cards have been given. Who's going to play the cards the best? That's the question. And who's going to launch the best off the safety car restart? We saw it changed it last safety car restart, and it will change it again as we look towards the V-Carb. What's the V-Carb going to do? The beautiful pink one. And he's launched. He's gone. V-Carb, the Speed Freak, is away. The Ferrari gets a good launch as well. Mercedes gets an even better one as we go on to lap 29. We'll jump on board the Mercedes car. Does he do anything on the inside towards turn 1? No, he does not. The Alpine going slowly down the main straight is going to be close between a lot of drivers here. A little bit of ghosting going on. It's really close. Contact made. That's Iron dropping down a little bit there as well. Werner down to the back. Yellow flag being ignored by Iron, giving him a 10-second time penalty. 3 wide there. Kick Sauber and both of the Alpines, they spread out as they go into the corner. But there's Darth Sims in front. Iron in P8. Wolverine P9. Very close to the Aston Martin of Pingu. Maybe trying to make a move as well. That middle pack is going at it. Then we have the front three. Evie with the Warner hard tyres has fallen off those front three. And then Monkey has managed to fall off that train as well. So it's spread out. We've got a couple of trains already. We're only half a lap in. Shows what Slipstream can do in these cars. Not even that. Just a little bit of a tyre advantage. That's Iron spinning there on the exit of turn 10. Ooh, that was close. Luckily it was a ghost car because that could have caused a bit of an issue. We've only got a few laps left now though, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you join in for the last few because they have a freeway fight for the front of this pack between Speed, Buck and Quake. Going to be really close between these guys now then. Quake is really wanting a race win. He knows what it can do for his championship and he's had a very nice exit through turn 14 compared to his two rivals there. Tries something, can't make anything happen, having to stay behind. DRS will come again as we go round turn 5 in about 2 corners time. Looking down towards the middle pack, DRS for all of them, but I want to look at this front 5. That's where the action is. And here we go now then. Speed Freak in the V-Carb, fighting off the Ferrari. And the Ferrari is the Speed Freak. Here he goes round the outside. We can't see them. There they are. The Ferrari goes a little bit wide, but he's up to P1. The V-Carb sends it again on the inside of turn 8 before we go towards turn 9. The Ferrari's on the inside and makes a lovely move. The Mercedes now tries to get past the V-Carb, and maybe the Ferrari as well. Oh, nearly a double overtake. Maybe a little bit of a flashback for the Mercedes from a couple laps ago, but the V-Carb of Speed Freak losing a lot of time there. Unfortunately, in a couple of positions, dropping to P3, but he's still got a lap and a half yet to change this race on its head. The Mercedes of Quake really wants to make this position back into the lead of this race. He led it for a while. He's down to P2. Buck wasn't probably looking at a race win with his tyres, but now the safety car has given him the opportunity, and he's hoping, he's praying the Scuderia team, they do not want to lose this. This could be a great chance for them. All the way down in P9 in the Constructors, there's a lot of points to play for, but we know there's a penalty going towards the Ferrari. But we want to see what will happen on track. Penalties is for afterwards. On-track racing is what we're here for. And I want to see, can the Mercedes do anything as we go through Sector 1? We've had one DRS straight. There's 3 more to go as we go through turn 5. Here comes Quake down the straight. DRS activated now towards the inside of what will be turn 7. Does he look? Of course he has a look, but has to stay behind. Puts the Ferrari on a little bit of pressure on this final lap. The V-Carb sitting there with a bucket of popcorn just there in P3. Knows that there's not much time fighting other than the Ferrari, as the Mercedes doesn't have that penalty. We'll go towards turn 10 now. What can he do? Mercedes playing the game carefully. We have another spinner. It's Pengu out the back in P10. Unfortunate for him. But what can he do now? Mercedes, he needs something to happen. There's not much time left. We've got about half a lap left of this race. We've got about 30 seconds left of this race. The Ferrari's looking quick though. The Ferrari's looking quick. We've got one more DRS straight, and that's probably the last overtaking point into turn 16. Here we go. The Ferrari is looking in those mirrors of his, probably hoping it's sealed, done and dusted. He's trying his best. Late on the brakes into the final chicane. The Mercedes has a little bit of a moment coming out, and he's 8 tenths behind. But on track, the Ferrari will win this race at F1 Racing Club for one of, I believe, his first race wins in this. No, so he won last time out. Unfortunately for him, though, Quake will win this race on penalties. Speed will get P3 with Eevee getting P4. Monkey ends up with a P5 with Wolverine and Daft Sims in the Alpha game P6 and 7. Liam getting P8 at the end of this race. Robert will end up in P9 before we have the Kick Sauber, who will on the track get himself a P10. But looking at penalties, I think he'll end up a little bit further down, and yes he does, as that is Pengu getting himself up to P10, dropping the Kick Sauber down. But what an end to the race that was. What a race it was overall. Absolute madness from this race. I mean, I have to say it was a pleasure to watch over it for my first ever round here at F1 Racing Club. They put on quite a show for me. I love to see it. I do love to see it. There is Quake at the top step, followed by his Ferrari and Alpine friends. I'm sure they're friends off track, maybe not on track, but it was very close between those two, all three today. Unfortunate for Werner, down in P12. Desync just changed his race for the worse. Unfortunate for him. He was definitely going to be within that top 3 fight, which is so unfortunate for the McLaren driver. But at the end of the day, we have got 12 finishing drivers out of the 18, which is not too bad for a Singapore race as well. It's not an easy one, but for now, I've got to run. I will just thank everyone for letting me join in today. It was a great race to watch over. it was a pleasure to watch over the boys here at F1 Racing Club on the JCC network on the Twitch. If you want to join in, I'm sure you can message one of the owners of either one of these teams, these leagues, and they'll get you joined in. I'm sure they will. Other than that, I will maybe see you next week round, and I appreciate you joining in for round 6 here at F1 Racing Club.